It would be nearly difficult to discuss legal analysis on cable news without mentioning Andrew Napolitano. Prior to his eventual departure, he was a frequent guest on Fox News, showing up virtually every night. You might find it hard to believe, but the retired jurist's departure from Fox News wasn't an isolated incident. A libertarian judge and a constantly evolving media behemoth had a number of divergent viewpoints. We're now revealing the true reason Andrew Napolitano is at Fox News in today's film, which goes into detail about the problems, internal politics, and actual behind-the-scenes events. Here is the complete narrative, at last. The judge, Andrew Peter Napolitano, is a retired jurist and columnist who was well known for his libertarian viewpoint and criticism of previous U.S. presidents Donald Trump, George W. Bush, and Barack Obama. From 1987 to 1995, he presided over more than 160 jury cases while serving as the New Jersey Superior Court's youngest judge. In addition, he has worked for Fox News for 24 years and made over 14,500 media appearances. At the moment, Napolitano is quite busy hosting the podcast and YouTube series Judging Freedom. In 2021, Andrew Napolitano had a really turbulent year. After all, this was the year he received a complaint that resulted in his dismissal from Fox News. Fox News associate John Fawcett, 27, submitted a complaint against Napolitano on August 2, 2021, accusing the jurist of misconduct. Fawcett said that the Fox News HR staff did not take any action against Napolitano. Fox News stated that they looked into the charges as soon as they were made public and spoke with both parties. This explains why there won't be any legal commentators on the cable news channel for a few months. In the case, the plaintiff, John Fawcett, described how Andrew Napolitano stroked his arm and made extremely provocative remarks to him at the Fox News headquarters. Following the encounter, Fawcett promptly informed his co-workers of what had happened. But instead of providing assistance, they burst out laughing. They claimed that Judge Napolitano's harassment of younger men at work was nothing new. Furthermore, the plaintiff's co-worker had a similar situation. For fear of endangering his career at the network, Fawcett, a junior and relatively new employee, chose not to report the occurrence. Fawcett was still employed by Lou Dobbs at the time. And when the latter told Kevin Lord, Fox Corp's top human resources officer, what had happened, Lord dismissed the event. John Fawcett began his career at Fox News as Lou Dobbs' production assistant. However, due to the cancellation of Dobbs' show, it was a rather brief stint. Fawcett subsequently secured employment as an associate producer on Larry Kudlow's program. Speaking of Kudlow, Fawcett also made accusations against him, saying that the presenter had made offensive remarks about women and used ethnic slurs in front of several employees. Furthermore, according to Fawcett, Kudlow prevented a lawmaker from being a guest on his show because of the congressman's race. Given that he pursued more than just these Napolitano and Kudlow, John Fawcett is, to put it mildly, a brave man. Additionally, he targeted Stephanie Freeman, a senior producer at Fox News at the time. Fawcett accused Freeman of consistently discriminating against Kudlow's male employees. Additionally, Freeman was allegedly attempting to compel the anonymous employees to quit or risk being fired, according to Fawcett's complaint. As soon as the accusations against Andrew Napolitano made their way into the mainstream media, Fox News acted quickly to repair the harm and fired the jurist. According to a statement released by Fox News after the incident, the network and Judge Napolitano have subsequently parted ways. We take misbehavior claims seriously, are dedicated to giving all of our employees a safe, open, and cooperative work environment, and have taken prompt, appropriate action. Regarding the other complaints that Fawcett submitted, Fox News said that the allegations are wholly unfounded and only a last-ditch effort to get paid. Furthermore, the cable news network has stated that it intends to mount a strong legal defense. After a few months, in 2022, John Fawcett's allegation that Andrew Napolitano had made attempts toward him was rejected. The presiding judge rejected the suit in February 2022 for a number of reasons. The incident did not fit the legal definition of widespread harassment for two reasons. First, Napolitano was not the plaintiff's supervisor. Even though Napol won the case in the end, the harm had already been done. Fox News' zero-tolerance stance after O'Reilly forced them to terminate him permanently as a result. Even though his sudden departure from Fox News was unexpected, It's crucial to remember that this wasn't Napolitano's first time dealing with this kind of situation or punishment for doing something out of the ordinary. In reality, Andrew Napolitano experienced a similarly identical scenario a year prior to Fawcett's report. When news broke in September 2020 that a South Carolina man had sued Fox News Judge Andrew Napolitano for an astounding $10 million, the media community was stunned in shock. In the 1980s, when the man was only a 20-year-old criminal defendant, the former New Jersey Superior Court judge violently sodomized and abused him, according to the lawsuit. In addition, he asserts that Napolitano used his influence to lower the man's sentence in order to silence him over the entire issue. Furthermore, the lawsuit claimed that Napolitano took a risk by contacting local authorities in an effort to quiet the plaintiff and prevent him from bringing the case. He had been threatened with violence by the plaintiff. The complaint alleged that these statements were blatantly false. There was never a threat of any kind from the plaintiff. In early September 2020, Andrew Napolitano was sued by Charles Corbishley, who owned a cleaning services business. In the aforementioned case, he also sought $10 million in compensation in addition to a jury trial. Naturally, this problem damaged Fox News' reputation as one of the well-known personalities on the cable news network. In order to assure Fox News that the accusations are untrue and that he would defend them in court, they quickly released a statement claiming that the judge had already sent notice to them. These charges are wholly untrue. Napolitano stated in a statement via his attorney, Tom Clare, full stop. I have never done anything to anyone for any purpose that resembles what the complainant states. The man making this complaint and I have never had a personal relationship or engaged in any inappropriate correspondence. His accusations against me are all utterly untrue. Clare said that the lawsuit was absurd and that Napolitano was willing to conduct a thorough inquiry. He also mentioned that Napolitano informed federal law enforcement about Corbishley's planned action. At the time of Napolitano's statement, his lawyer also mentioned that Corbishley is being watched by the local police because of his violent past and threats against Napolitano, protecting the Fox News media personality. According to Corbishley's purported complaint, he was charged with arson at the time due to a 3-count indictment that was issued in November 1987. Robert A. Hollis, a dishonest lawyer and Corbishley's defense lawyer, is another important character in the narrative. Hollis encouraged Corbishley to accept a plea offer without a plea agreement by telling him to appear at the judge's home in Hackinaw. Napolitano, the presiding judge in his case, was reportedly Hollis's close buddy. In other words, Hollis told him to go there pretending to work for the judge in order to present himself favorably. Since he believed that was precisely what he would be doing at Hackinaw, he even brought a snow shovel. Corbishley welcomed the judge when he arrived at Napolitano's house and explained that he was there to shovel snow. He followed the judge's instructions to shovel the driveway, but he discovered that it had already been done and that there didn't seem to be any heavy snow near the home that needed to be shoveled. After a minute, Napolitano went back inside, pulled on a coat, and invited Corbishley to stand aside so they could speak briefly. According to the judge, Corbishley might be leaving for a while. He then described how the younger man was forced to his knees by Napolitano's hand on his shoulder. The judge then proceeded to sexually abuse Corbish, and when he was finished, the young man fled in tears. Back then, he was afraid of what would happen to him if he rebelled or retaliated against the judge. He did nothing as a result. Additionally, the lawsuit claims that Corbishley was not aware that Hollis, his defense lawyer, was operating a nationwide prostitution ring at the time. Additionally, Hollis implied to his client that he was aware of the events involving him and the judge 2 days following the claimed attack. Following Hollis's instructions, Corbishley entered a plea agreement to all 3 offenses, and Napolitano sentenced him to an unusually light term. Rather than being sentenced to years in prison, he was given a 5-year probationary period and 150 hours of community service. Remember that in addition to his previous juvenile arson arrest, Corbishley is also charged with aggravated arson, burglary of a motor vehicle, and arson. On the other hand, Edward Whiteau, Corbishley's co-defendant in the case, was found guilty of the same crime as Corbishley and given a sentence of several years in jail on the same 3 charges. The plaintiff has a 25-year criminal record, according to Napolitano's attorney. Aside from the previously mentioned offenses, Corbishley also committed battery, illegal gun possession, property theft, credit card fraud, and drug distribution. The fact that a former criminal defendant can threaten to harm reputations and careers with false and incendiary accusations decades after a routine criminal case, without any supporting evidence, should be of serious concern to all judges and the other committed public officials who oversee our criminal justice system. Given that he was the leading commentator at the time, Clare stated that the case has not yet been settled and that Napolitano was removed from television for several months as a result of the accusations. If you think this accusation is startling enough, wait till Charles Corbishley filed his case against Andrew Napolitano that same month. Given the continuing accusation against Andrew Napolitano at the time, a certain James Krusnick fueled the flames by coming forward and said the judge attempted to take advantage of him by offering him legal advice in exchange for sex. Krusnick claimed to have met Napolitano in 2014 while working as a waiter at a restaurant in Sussex County. Tom Clare was quick to defend his client, claiming the latest accusation was untrue in a copycat lawsuit filed by the same legal team working with Corbishley. The judge allegedly followed him into the restaurant's restroom where the former groped him and said, "You are just so hot." Like Corbishley, Napolitano was 20 years Krusnick's senior at the time of the frequent harassment. Additionally, Krusnick stated that on his visit to Napolitano's house in September 2015, the judge coerced him into a strange behavior that included spanking. Krusnick also endured harsh criticism at one point for being a gay employee. In November 2015, he therefore asked the judge for legal advice. When he returned to Napolitano's house, he allegedly said, "If you do things for me, I'll do things for you." Years later, in August 2017, the judge invited Krusnick to swim at his farm. This was their last meeting. In this case, Krusnick claimed in the lawsuit that Napolitano attempted to rape him in the bedroom while he was changing. Moreover, Napolitano was not by himself. A number of anonymous people also made an effort to do so. Judge Napolitano's disgusting behavior has caused Mr. Cruel to experience both bodily and psychological distress. The fact that Mr. Krusnick was hesitant to come forward because he believed no one would believe him since he was gay is equally troubling. Krusnick's attorney, John Norensberg, said in a statement announcing the complaint. Like Corbishley, Krusnick's case against the court is still pending, which has irreparably damaged his reputation at Fox News and ultimately resulted in his dismissal. These accusations were surefire ways to permanently remove Napolitano from Fox News. He had no idea, however, that Fox News executives were keeping a close eye on him. Beginning in March 2017, Andrew Napolitano's claim that Obama had wiretapped Trump during the 2016 elections generated a significant diplomatic uproar on a global scale. In retrospect, this might have also indicated the conflict between Napolitano and Fox News, which ultimately resulted in his first job suspension. Napolitano boldly said during an appearance on Fox and Friends that Obama surveilled Trump using the outside chain of command rather than the NSA, CIA, or FBI. He specifically claimed that Trump was being watched by GCHQ, the UK's version of the NSA. Obama was able to circumvent American traces on the monitoring by using them. Naturally, the audacious assertion gained momentum very rapidly, and it only took a single second to reach the White House. Then Press Secretary Sean Spicer used Napolitano's statements from the White House platform to support Trump's prior tweets accusing him of being wiretapped. Naturally, being included in such a contentious matter infuriated the UK, which denounced such assertions as absurd. Backlash against Napolitano was intense. Additionally, Fox News decided to suspend him for nearly 2 weeks in order to wait for the controversy to subside and as a penalty for speaking without sufficient evidence because he was unable to confirm his sources. Napolitano eventually made a comeback to the air, as everyone is aware. From there, however, it was clear that the judge's connection with the cable news network had changed. After serving as Fox News legal expert, he became a contentious character whose reports required close oversight and vetting by Fox management. The legal analyst has been using YouTube as a venue to express his ideas ever since his downfall at Fox News. Napolitano began his career as an independent libertarian legal commentator in July 2022 when he started his own YouTube channel. He had an incredible 467,000 views on his debut video alone, and as of January 2026, he has 667,000 subscribers. When it comes to right-leaning viewpoints, Napolitano has a fairly broad following and has established himself as one of the most reliable figures because of his daily streaming. His content frequently intersects with Tucker Carlson's and Piers Morgan's audiences. Let's just say that Napolitano's supporters are happy that he is still involved in the media even after leaving Fox News. His show, Judging Freedom, at least gives him the freedom to share his opinions without influencing other people or networks. Napolitano described his program as hard-hitting legal political news from a man who knows and respects the Constitution and the importance of defending individual freedoms, from the viewpoint that the individual is superior to the state and that government is the opposite of liberty. Using his outstanding expertise in legal research, he examines a wide range of issues, including the president's war powers, surveillance abuses, and even First Amendment issues. Napolitano's move to YouTube has given him complete control over his channel. He can now offer unscripted comments that directly addresses the issues raised by his audience without having to limit his opinions. He is no longer constrained by the newsroom's editorial filter, so in retrospect, being fired from Fox News was actually a blessing in disguise. If anything, the growth of independently held platforms is also reflected in his thriving channel. This success story demonstrates that you can make a comeback and establish your significance in the media if you have the necessary credentials, legal knowledge, and a strong personal brand. Ironically, Andrew Napolitano has become a divisive figure on Fox News as a result of his increased adherence to the libertarian ideals for which he is renowned. The decline of Andrew Napolitano is a glaring illustration of how becoming embroiled in issues can destroy a person's career. It might also mark the beginning of a free and independent run of their own history. Judging independence has allowed him to continue criticizing Donald Trump and the American system in general without anyone stopping him. Since 1986, I have personally known Trump. Napolitano told Morgan County, USA, "He interviewed me twice for the Supreme Court of the United States, so that will show you the level of interaction that we have had." I did not make Fox management happy when I criticized some of the things he did during his first term and when I said that there was an articulable legal basis for both of his impeachments. Additionally, Napolitano said he hasn't voted for a Republican since he voted for Ronald Reagan in 1984 because he doesn't trust big government. The judge does not condone the expenditure of $1 trillion for the Defense Department to maintain 750 foreign military installations in 80 countries, which is why he has been harshly critical of Trump. I have not hesitated to be harshly critical of him. From his bizarre interpretation of the 14th Amendment to his dispatching of masked men to arrest people in the streets and incarcerate them without due process and deport them without hearings to bombing Iran to funding these wars. All of this behavior is not only contrary to what he promised but is profoundly unconstitutional and in my view is many steps toward authoritarianism.